full moon. I am so excited. So hearing a lot. Also this morning I was journaling and I went back and looked at everything from February, from the new moon solar eclipse that we had in Aquarius. And when I tell you I bawled like a baby, and I was like, why am I even crying? It was so funny. Very emotional, very much a full circle sort of feeling. So kind of just want to see what's going on with you with this full moon. What is bringing in for you? I feel like this full moon is kind of like, obviously all full moons are typically like a culmination, it's a release and all of that, but really from everything from that new moon eclipse, it was like bringing, like, okay, I focused on creation a lot around that time, right? Creation, the cosmic web, all of that. So birthing what it is that you wanted to create, and then from then to now, releasing and purging all the things that are like hindering you from being able to even start down that path, like current blocks. And I do think that more is going to come up, obviously, because, you know, the South Node is going to be in Leo, North Node in Aquarius. That's just what happens, right? So we're kicking off the story of the next like 18 months, 2 years. But still, I just feel like it was like the pre-purge before we could even, like, you know what I mean, start to like build towards that. So yeah, I don't know why my wish started doing this, so that's interesting. But yeah, energy record, please. Oh, Emperor reverse. So I'm getting false confidence. So we have Emperor reversed, Queen of Wands, and the Sun reversed. The Queen of Wands, she is alluring, she's magnetic, she's charming, she's sexy, right? She is very much in tune with the divine, and that is part of like where her confidence comes from, like in wielding her energy, because it's connected to source, right? But then you have Emperor reverse, like starting off with Emperor reverse, like that is a very structured energy, but also not. It's giving like erratic tyrant king, do you know what I mean? Mad queen energy. And then with the Sun reverse can be a thing of needing to count your blessings, needing to see the light in any situation, kind of needing to figure out what it is that actually brings you true fulfillment and joy. But it could also be a card of needing to strip down your layers to your authentic self, which I think is like kind of what's been leading up for you. And maybe this is kind of a moment of, okay, well, what path are you going to go down? Are you going to choose to, like, you've been slowly it's been shown to you the ways in which you have gripped onto control. You've been rigid and kind of been a tyrant in your own life, and how it's bled out into other ways, and how it's kind of been backed by this sense of like this false sense of confidence, this false sense of self, right? Very much like bravado, putting on a show. And now it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do moving forward? Like, how are you going to move forward? Also, absent father wounds. Emperor reverse speaks to that as well. Let's see, 4 swords. Okay, yeah. So this is what's been like leading. Okay, I think this is what you've been confronted with like right now, right now. Because we have the 4 swords and then we have the 5 of wands reversed, which is very, very good energy. Going with an empress at the bottom of the deck. I love to see this. Okay, this is what you're headed towards. So going from like wounded masculine energy to divine feminine energy, like a balancing of your masculine and feminine, almost like your feminine couldn't shine. Because I don't think this Queen of Wands was necessarily misplaced, but I think there were kind of structures in place based off of self and just environment that made that energy seem, gave it like a sense of inauthenticity. And so right now I feel like it's a period of you going within a rest period for you, which is funny because when I picked up this deck, at the bottom is moonlight rest, restoration, softness, cycles. Even the moon takes a night off. Even anxious pups need the moon. So just, a healing, a time to recalibrate, to kind of like get that jolt of clarity, like looking at all the things laid out before you, and then also like getting that jolt of clarity from all of it, and this causing like leading to like a more balanced state within your energy, leading to solutions, a more like harmonic resonance within self and the world around you. Emperor reversed. Knight of Pentacles. What a long journey for you. And I do think that for a while you're a bit stubborn, which I mean, in reverse, rigid, seeking control, like a lack of control, but like also seeking control because of that. Yeah, I mean, that's really hard energy to come out of. Queen of Wands. It's stubborn. And you could have seen that as like just, it's not even that you were consciously aware of this or intentionally doing this, but it was just kind of it seems like the practical thing to you, right? It's like you thought that you were, it's like you hold on. The Seven of Swords coming out under the Queen of Wands. A mask, false bravado, false confidence. Again, I do think this energy is within you. Like you have the capabilities to really embody this, and I think deep down this is really in you. But the way that you have wielded that energy thus far, very much given lying to yourself, lying to others around you, like having a mask, thinking that you're getting away with something. The Sun reverse. Like, look at that, like, Nine of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, under Emperor reverse and Queen of Wands. Like, that's survival. That is survival. That's fake it till you make it, except things like blowing up, because now the energy that we're moving towards demands authenticity, demands like conscious awareness of the ways in which you are being inauthentic to yourself and the ways in which you are doing that out of needing external validation, which is seeking control, because you need to be liked. Yeah, Ten of Swords reversed. It typically is a card of regeneration, repair, like reconciliation, but also just repair in and of itself and moving on. So moving on from the ways in which you lie to yourself. Yeah, King of Swords upright. The bottom of the deck of Four Swords. And right when I said King of Swords, oh, that's not a Pentacles now. Right when I said King of Swords, I almost said King of Wands. So for the King of Wands to come out is crazy. So this is going within and allowing you to move that energy outside of you. It's one thing to start to, it's you know what it is. It's healing in isolation and then needing to go out into the world and be able to stand on the work that you've done thus far, right? You can only heal so much without having to interact with the outside world and being able to see what is you and what is outside of you, and being able to stand on what is you and not be swayed, affected by anything that is outside of you, right? Not let like your personal viewpoints and just the way that you exist within the world and interact in the world be determined by external factors. You show up the way that you show up, regardless. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Which the Nine of Pentacles is a card of fulfillment, self-sufficiency, but like also fulfillment. Going back to that Sun reversed. It's like needing permission before to be who it is that you actually are. And now no longer seeking that permission, or that's the energy that you're moving towards. Also, like the full moon in Aquarius. Aquarius is all about authenticity, like not conforming, and not for the sake of like being contrarian, even though Aquarius does have like a bit of contrarian energy by default, but needing to be separate from the crowd, not in a validation sort of way, but in like a everyone is unique. We all have our unique code, unique blueprint. We all came here for a unique purpose, and it's okay to stand by that. You know what I mean? And also, I mean, like Aquarius is very future forward, very much visionary energy, ahead of its time. And so, regardless of if you have Aquarius placements in your chart or whatever, this energy is being activated within you, because that's what we need moving forward. There's way too much conformity within society right now. Like, we need authenticity. We need people showing up as their authentic selves, because that's the change that we want to see. That's literally what's going to bring about what it is that we need moving forward. Five of Wands reversed. You know, I'm hearing new perspective. Ooh, this town's for the record now. The intersection's got us how I get. And they're calling it downtown. You can talk of your new perspective now. Ooh, Chariot. Wish I could shove it in the closet and drag you back down. But that's not you. You know what I mean? Like look at that. Like, wish I could shove it in the closet, that new perspective, and drag you back down, drag you back to who you once were. This town is changing. This town is evolving. And instead of going with that, I want instead 11:11 on the clock. I want instead to take us back to simpler times, but more mundane times, where everything was as it was, keeping things as they were, right? Stuck, stagnant energy. Oh yeah, so waxing moon under the Five of Wands. Shifting consciousness, gaining strength, final steps increase. So typically I do take the first like card like this as what's been happening leading up. So over the last week or two, there's been a shift in consciousness, whenever that lasts. But I feel like this could go either way. But the last waxing moon was not a week or two ago. Actually, yes, it was. Yes, it was, because it's a full moon, which means the new moon was 2 weeks ago. And in between a new moon and a full moon is the first quarter moon, which is a waxing. Well, actually, that's how you get what I'm saying. It's waxing is going towards the full moon, waning is going towards the new moon. So, geez, why I'm confusing myself, I don't know. But this is what's going to create some forward momentum for you. This energy grounding within you, right? This sort of gaining strength, gaining speed, and solidifying within you. but it does still require you to be very much dedicated and to removing like your mask, your false, and honestly, the need to constantly be strategic. Like I know we said the had the King of Swords at the bottom of the deck there, but there's a reason why it didn't actually come out. Yes, you need to be moving logically and whatnot, but not so like strategically, and that you're constantly worried about how it is that you're presenting and how that's going to affect certain things. Like not everything is a chess piece that needs to be maneuvered on a board and strategized. You know what I mean, and all of that. So yeah, let's get one more overall for your current energy. And I don't know why I feel the need to clarify this, but current energy can mean quite literally the energy that you're sitting in, the energy that you quite literally just moved through, or the energy that you're moving towards. And sometimes it's a mix of all three. Queen of Cups reversed. Emotional imbalance. Irrational, melancholic, codependent, why did I just hear soul's got a groove back? So that basis, this need, like this like clinging on to codependency could have actually been the thing that made you so rigid, right? The Emperor reverse energy. And seeking structure because your emotional world within was not balanced. It wasn't centered. And rather than like facing that, there was a need to put on a mask and think that you're getting away with something. Getting away, pretending that you're way more confident than you are. Oh, that's crazy. So at the bottom here, we have winter solstice, and then I split to the spring equinox. So a lot of like cosmic timing for you. So look back towards, like look back to the spring equinox, because that would have been a month after that new moon solar eclipse. What fresh start happened around that time? And winter solstice, I feel like that's going to be the thing that like moving forward, the tying of loose ends, validating feelings. It might be a time of like yeah, I think you're gaining momentum right now, but there might be a bit of a pause again around that time. Which would make sense because Saturn just went retrograde, and then right around winter solstice, probably like maybe 2 weeks before, don't quote me on that, Saturn goes direct again. So everything that's been put under review, we now can move forward. But before you do that, you still have to like pause and integrate. You see that how that just didn't? Embarrassing. Yeah, okay. Wish I could shove it in the closet and drag it back down. I want to see what was fueling this emotional codependency and this emotional imbalance. Being in silent competition with other people, keeping score, hidden rivalries, validation seeking. Constantly playing the comparison game between you and someone else. So feeling as though you don't quite measure up, which is why that Five of Wands is now going upright, because Five of Wands is more so friendly competition, right? But I do think it like took a bit of like a darker edge. Wavering attention that peaks and drops, easily distracted, emotional uncertainty, no stable focus. I mean, yeah, if you're not balanced emotionally, that would make sense. Hold on. Yeah, okay. mixed signals, warm flashes, sudden cold front, emotional mismatch, emotional mismatch as strategy, intentions hidden in the gaps. Why all the why all the secrecy? Why all the mind games? Why play hot and cold? Unspoken expectations. No, this could have been things like something that was put onto you, like this unspoken expectations, like feeling like you needed to measure up to a certain thing, but like not necessarily knowing what it is that you're trying to measure up to, and pretty much is a losing game. Which then, yes, did lead to approval-based dynamics, which would lead you to being codependent on someone else because you're codependent on their validation, like you're dependent on their validation and whatnot. Let me grab that one. Okay, so masked intentions, polished words, hidden motive, controlled presentation. You would be used to dynamics, not just romantic, just like period, which would cause you to attract this romantically, but you would be very much used to dynamics that it's not even just that it was hot and cold. It's like intentionally destabilizing you emotionally and mentally, again, to like keep you in a state of imbalance, to keep you on the hook, and really to destroy your confidence and kind of extinguish any sort of ability to become confident. Pitting you against other people. Maybe you have siblings and you're pitted against each other, or maybe you felt like you were like in silent competition with your parents, like you felt like maybe they were in silent competition with you, but they always like dressed it up like differently. Do you know what I mean? And kind of like always needing to be on guard to like waiting on the other shoe to drop, but nothing being trustworthy, nothing being stable, because nothing is ever as it seems, and not in a good way. And so kind of learning to navigate the world with a mask, because that was what was safe. It's giving fox, but like I don't see foxes as like bad energy, but foxes can be cunning and clever, and like a need to start to kind of like adopt a very like cunning energy out of survival. Wow, hate that. Just quickly confirm selling competition. Breadcrumb trail. Tiny efforts, just enough attention, emotional stringing, progress to that movement. What's crazy is I am getting that this is like very familial, like parental, like this is how your parents treated you. Wavering attention. I was channeling earlier and got something about a breadcrumb. My notebook is over there. I don't really feel like grabbing. Oh, this was at the bottom of the deck there. Low risk attachment, staying close without vulnerability. Because vulnerability was never safe. I don't think you ever experienced like true vulnerability. I don't think you're ever given a chance to experience it. And any time that you might have exhibited displays of vulnerability, it was immediately like shut down, not received well, toyed with your emotions, stuff like that. Mixed signals. Emotional ghosting, half effort, interaction. I actually kind of feel like this is you. like energy you're moving from. Because emotional mismatch and strategy gives an emotionally unavailable person constantly seeking out emotionally unavailable people, because that's just what happens, right? So needing that as a way to not like to avoid having to be vulnerable, and to avoid like having to actually show up as your real self, because that was always rejected, which is really sad. Unspoken expectations. So attracting low effort sort of connections, and if they did require more of you, emotional ghosting, to kind of subtly like bring down their expectations because that was done to you. Sugar cut a distance, sweet tone with emotional gap. So under approval based dynamics, you have sweet tone with emotional gap, nice words, masking detachment, polite avoidance, something that you mastered. Faking vulnerability, giving an air of vulnerability, but really it's breadcrumb. It's low risk. It's keeping someone on the hook. And if you're watching this reading and you're like, I don't feel like I do that, I feel like that I've attracted people who do that, and one way or another, you also do that. Likely. Because it's being reflected about you for a reason. Especially if this is stemming from like childhood, like wounds and whatnot. Mass intentions. Okay, that was easy. 2 came out. So all of this, like mass intentions, polished words, hidden motives, controlled sort of presentation, right? Again, the Emperor reverse, very much led to like a lot of slow burn conflicts. This would like, because this is an energy of something like being incredibly heated and then like burning down just as quickly as it did. This is like a slow suffocating of a flame in any regard, to get people to expect less, which led to needing to put a lot on hold, which would make sense with that 4 of Swords there that we had. Needing to take a time out, needing to recalibrate, to reset. It's like this was, honestly, I feel like this was all slowly kind of snuffing out your own flame, to the point where you were sitting in a 10 of Swords energy, and now you're repairing, but from a place of authenticity, like rebuilding self, which requires you to address literally all of this and the ways in which you engaged in this behavior. So some of this is how your parents like were towards you, and then how partners were towards you, partners and friends, and then how you were towards them. But all stemming from a place of like competition. Who can care the least, right? Because anyone who shows vulnerability loses. Vulnerability is seen as a weakness. And there's a difference. I don't know why I'm being called to make this distinction here, but there's a difference between vulnerability being seen as a threat, right? Like, so it's not safe because it feels like a threat, right? A threat to my existence. Like that's hard, that's scary. Vulnerability seen as a weakness is needing to tamp something down, is needing to like crush something out of someone. Like, you're weak for this. it's just like I don't even know how to like fully like explain it, but it's like it's a different way of going about a survival mechanism. Like all of it is avoiding vulnerability. But one is shame based. This gives a lot of this gives a lot of shame energy. And really like shame around existing, whether you realize that that's kind of what it boils down to or not. Well, that's pleasant. I was gonna start off with this, but then I decided not to. The answers you need are coming. Something like in limbo for you. Communication is key. So that was full moon in Gemini, new moon in Gemini. What happened with the new moon in Gemini, and then what is coming full circle for you with this new moon in Gemini? And then also the actual full moon in Aquarius card came out. Show the world the real you. There's something that's up in the air for you. Could be a business, could be a relationship. I'm actually kind of getting both. Not necessarily at the same time for like, but for specific people, one or the other. Could be both, but anyway. But still all of it needing clear and transparent communication. And like arriving and existing within like your full self, like full self. Oh, full moon in Virgo, you are good enough. What I feel like, because right after that new moon solar eclipse that we had in Aquarius, we had a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. Would have been like early March. Like, I think it was like March 3rd or something. And the South Node was just in Virgo. So purging all the things that make you feel like you're not good enough. Not strong enough. And then the new moon in Aquarius, bring love into the situation. So this could just be the situation with self, right? Oh, it's time to release negativity. But so one of the things, I'm going to grab my notebook really quickly. Hold on. So why this is so important, well, actually, even before I get to that, one thing that I really struggled with was like the magnitude of like my feelings, like the depth, the magnitude, the intensity, all of it, and like my capacity to feel everything, feel it intensely, deeply. Everything is actually that deep for me. It just is. That's just how I am. And it's always something that I used to be like ashamed of. And it would affect how I would show up in the world. And I would like put on this mask of this nonchalant type of person. And in a way, I am very, very detached, and I just like don't care about a lot of stuff. But I'm also very much also a chalant person. You will never meet a more like I care about pretty much like anything. That's the that's the paradox. Like I care, but also like I don't care. Maybe it's something you struggle with too. especially with all this like Aquarian energy. And it was hard to find that balance. And I don't even actually know how to explain that, the whole like caring but not caring, because like when I say that I deeply feel every single thing, like I'm not a person who, I'm gonna cry at like, honestly, if you follow me, you already know that. Like if I even talk about like the concept of creation and like human existence and all of that too long, and too long is probably like a good 60 seconds, I will be brought to tears. I started this off talking about how I was just looking at my journal. Nothing about what I was reflecting on with that new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius in February, nothing about that was like dark or anything like that. It was honestly me really just like anchoring into really beautiful new energy. Like before that, I had done like a shamanic journey into my heart, and I saw like the actual inside of my heart. It was beautiful. It was profound. It was very mystical, and so high vibes, right? And as I'm reading this, talking like describing all of that, like I'm like, tears. I'm a crier. I am a crier. At a commercial, at literally anything, anything. But also, I have been like called cold and like detached, uncaring, unfeeling, all of that. Why, I don't really know. But you know, that's neither here nor there. Again, maybe that's something that you also struggle with. And here's the thing, is like for a long time, especially probably like high school to like early 20s, it was a persona that I took on, because it's like, okay, well, this is how people see me, so this is how I'm gonna be. But it's like the the labels and identities that people put onto you are just a projection of their own insecurities. It actually has nothing really to do with you. You know who it is that you are. You know how it is that you actually show up in the world and how you're meant to exist and navigate this like world. Don't let anyone tell you that you're anything that you're not. But it also requires you to know who it is that you are. Like I know the things that I care deeply about. I also know the things that I couldn't give a rat's ass about on any given day, every single day of the week. It just wouldn't matter. Which most things, it's like most things that are like outside of me. Do you know what I mean? Like, because why do I care? Not like in a I don't care about people sort of way. You get what I mean. Whatever. Moving on. But also like the channel I was getting was I cause no harm, mind my business. If our love die young, I can't bear witness. And it's been so long, if you ever think you got it wrong, I'm right where you left me. So on one hand, I do think that this is like self. But I do think that this ties into a relationship, which I wasn't getting that vibe at first, but it's kind of coming out in the cards. But I cause no harm, mind my business. That's very much giving like not wanting to make waves, but doing that and also presenting as someone that you're not kind of led to the dissolution of like a relationship that meant a lot to you. And maybe that person has moved on and you're sitting right where they left you, right? They have grown, they've progressed, their life has continued to move, and your life is frozen. It's like you're a statue standing still, frozen in time, right at that same moment, replaying it over and over and over again, stuck in some type of loop rather than coming out of it. And it's almost like that was something that you kind of glorified. Like you're some ancient relic or something. Do you know what I mean? Like keeping the old ways going and finding, you know those people who like who are traditionalists for the sake of just like, well, that's tradition, that's just how things are, instead of like, okay, well, does it work now? Does it fit with the times? Is it evolving as we are evolving? And you weren't. Ooh, excuse me. And then also I was getting this is all over the place, but it's gonna tie in together. But I also was getting the song Happiness by Dermot Kennedy off his new album, whatever. Go without regret into your dark and be with all the ones that touched your heart. Something. Go with happiness. As in, like, let die what needs to die. And and another line. And I know what they say. I know what they're saying. Goodbye is just a part of life. It's just not worth the pain, kid. You can't outrun grief. I know this is all over the place. Roll with it. You can't outrun grief. Like, I just feel like there are a lot of like things that have stacked on top of one another that have caused you to sort of be this frozen statue and wear it as a badge of honor when it's not, when you're doing yourself a disservice. Because in order for you to move on, that requires you to let go of certain things, certain people and everything, even if those people aren't in your life anymore, right? Like, it's almost as if, like, you know what, like, if I stay here, then the memory of these things, of these people, these situations, all this is kept alive by me staying here. When it's like, in actuality, no, that is died, that's past, and you need to accept it. I actually woke up this morning and I was like making my mom lunch, and I was just like, Dead and Gone was playing in my head, and I was like, oh, okay, that's tea, that's kind of crazy. And I knew it kind of had to do with whatever the full moon was, right? But I was like, that's kind of weird that it was specifically Dead and Gone. But do you get the sort of trend that we're going down? You cannot outrun death. All things must die at some point. All things are cyclical. That is just the natural cycles of life. And progression is a natural part of life, growth and progression. And it's like you're avoiding that. You're not in resonance with, like, the universe, with the wheel. Like, it's like you think that you're bigger than cosmic forces. Crazy. I can appreciate the enthusiasm, right? The gall, the audacity. You're not, though, and it's making you kind of miserable. And it's just I don't know, because all of this is causing you to it's this stagnancy. What you don't realize is part of it is you thinking that you're not good enough to move on with life, to be happy, to let things die as they need to die. Because it would require you to deal with certain things, and dealing with certain things, weakness. Letting that hard exterior that is not actually who it is that you are, letting that die, letting that crack and crumble and whatnot, would be seen as weakness, because now you're showing up as who it is that you actually are. You're showing your soft underbelly. Makes you vulnerable. And it's like you've grown. So I was also journaling, and randomly it just came out where I started hearing, I feel like I'm a potted plant. Right? You can grow in a pot, but your roots can outgrow said pot. And sometimes you need to be like put into the ground. Not all plants, fruits, all the things can exist in a pot. They have to be put down in the ground for their roots to really spread out. And it's like certain things of you need to be put down in the ground, like buried and gone, but also like laying roots, laying down the foundation for moving forward, for spreading out your wings. And it's like, that's like deeply, that is something that you truly want. Like, you want to take a chance. Breakaway, Kelly Clarkson. I swear I think I just saw like a bird like fly right next to my door. But it's like you want to take flight. I'm getting a lot of like flight imagery, flight, bird, all of that. It's like you want to move on, you want to take flight, but it's like the thought of doing that is paralyzing because you don't know what's on the other side of it. And also, I think you could stand to just like love yourself a little bit more. Like, obviously, you weren't shown proper love, but it's okay to like, it's okay to not have had that model to you and learn how to like embody it for self, give it to yourself. Even if you have no idea what that looks like, you know what I mean? Energy are coming. Oh, you're very close to achieving your goals. So something that you're working towards. So we'll get into that in a second. Communication is key. Show the world where you. Oh, you and your loved ones are safe. So it's like you feel like it's a truly like survival thing. You're gonna. Oh, and what was under communication is key is prosperity lies ahead. Oh, too. A time for healing. Emotions are running high. And lastly, bring love into the situation. A balance of spirituality and practicality. Believing in something. I wouldn't say believing in something bigger than you, as in something outside of yourself, but believing. It's gonna sound so cheesy, but like believing in the bigness that is you, right? Like your soul self, your higher self, the true magnitude of like your essence, of your like energetic frequency and what it's here to do. We had look on your side at the bottom there. Okay, I do want to see. Do I want to get this first or these first? Picking this up and saying side piece is crazy. Ooh. Okay, thanks. You could be trying to date again. Due to romance, instant attraction, match found. Situationship. Okay, with side hustle. So we're gonna have to get into like the career of it all. So the gist of what I'm getting from this is pretty much just like in every avenue, seeking outside of yourself for completeness. Like whether that be romantic relationships or financially, as if any of this is going to complete you. rather than just dealing with the fact that there's like an emptiness within you. Swipe right. Online dating. Online dating could have led to a situationship, or maybe that is a lesson that you're learning right now, something that you're coming out of. Yeah, shadow work, facing hidden shadows, exploring darker, accepting imperfections. Situationship. So not that there's anything wrong with online dating, right? The apps, all of the things. But, oh, yep, side piece at the bottom here again. But it's almost as if like maybe you use that as a barrier. Because you can be whoever you want to be on social media. Which can lead you to leading people on. Because you have situationship and clickbait. So like unclear boundaries, mixed signals, and then clickbait can speak to like headlines and all that, obviously, but empty promises, exaggerating truths, which came out a lot within this deck. And then side pieces. And then again, remember Seven of Swords coming. There's just a lot of secrecy within your energy right now. Or just like your field, like around you. Side hustle. Commitment issues is crazy. Afraid to settle down, avoiding intimacy, fear of loss of freedom. It's complicated. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Suppliers could be a time for you. False alarm, unnecessary drama, overreaction. Also, I think this middle road really confirms me saying that you'll do anything to kind of fill the void instead of like actually looking at yourself and facing the things within self, right? The shadow work that's needed. It's like avoiding intimacy and just like throwing yourself into like multiple side hustles or whatever. So either you're entertaining multiple people, or even just one person, but like constantly distracting yourself with like work. It's something about just like work, not like it's not that you're working on something out of passion, out of true drive, instead of avoidance. It's giving energy that's addicted to chaos and intensity. And that's why, you know, like online dating can be such a thrill, kind of like always swiping and getting a match and everything. Like it's like, so contract falling on like that middle row, but being for back secured, it's like you're meant to be financially stable and whatnot, but it felt like upside down. I do think that some part of like your wealth is connected to some sort of like fated connection. It's like something that needs to be triggered within your soul contract. in order for you to like truly start on your like dharmic path of alignment and whatnot. But you gotta address the two ways that you distract yourself and that you like go outside of yourself. Not wanting to be seen as weak and seen as like inferior by never letting yourself like get too close to a partner, only engaging in online dating and not taking it like seriously, because I mean people have found like actual love throughout like on apps. So it's not again, not dragging apps or anything, but again, it can be a way to put on a mask. Very easy to put on illusions, you know, catfish and whatnot. And online dating does lead to a lot of situationships. This sort of mixed energy, especially within hookup culture and all of that. And it gives you that intensity as well as the grind of pursuing multiple businesses, and also kind of not even so that you aren't someone who may be financially secure, financially stable, but you very much have an energy of financial insecurity. Like it's something that it's like nothing's ever enough because you're constantly seeking more and more and more. Let's get one more for the soul contract. And then we'll get the little black deck. There's a reason, I was debating between the two, and there's a reason why. Red flags. Warning signs, ignored intuition, potential trouble, you knew better. I knew you were trouble when you walked in. Now I'm lying on the cold hard ground. I don't always see this, but you know, like, you know that music video was kind of taken in it, the goat thing where the goat like screeches or whatever. I don't know why I'm like hearing that. Capricorn energy, goats, but also goats could be a sign for you. Okay, let's see. Activate it with your soul contract. Excuse me. Soulmates, which speaks to soul agreement, soul contract. Hold on. I'm so glad I did not just get that on camera, because the burp that I just let out was insane. Okay. More about what's being activated within collective soul contract. It's that. So how you're like stuck in outdated thinking, conditioning, stuck at the restaurant, being an ancient relic, holding on to tradition for the sake of tradition, keeping the old ways alive. Was that the snake that wanted to come out but didn't? Coffin. Endings bringing new beginnings through growth, change, liberation, and transition. Do you think this is a time of transition for you? But it requires you to, for lack of better words, bow to the god of death. The runner. Being activated within your soul contract? Crazy. Fear of intimacy, listening to ego. Hammer, sabotaging in that way. And I did start this reading, hold on, okay, this is gonna be full circle. I did start this reading saying that I did feel like this was more so wounded masculine energy. It doesn't matter whether you identify as a masculine or feminine, whatever. This is still wounded masculine energy. Separation at the bottom here. Soulmates. Soul connection. Agreement. Soul contract. Way too many. Lightning. And it fell on coffin. So something ending, something beginning. And something within your soul contract being ignited very, very soon. Which makes sense. We have the Aquarius new moon today. Eclipse season is we just entered the, like, is it like, does eclipse season have a pre-shadow period? Whatever, we're 2 weeks out from the first eclipse, so we're in a, like, ride the wave, cassette. Outdated thinking and conditioning. Chaser. Fear of abandonment. Codependent. Coffin. Something is about to, Phoenix, as I was about to say, something is about to come full circle within a relationship dynamic, a runner-chaser dynamic that you engaged in. I almost wonder if I was reading, like, both of your energy. So endings bring in new beginnings, a new phase, rekindle, renew, transformation through growth and a changed mind. A changed mind, that cassette, outdated thinking. I think whatever confirms runner is going to determine which one you would be. Runner. Mirror. Mirroring each other. Relationships reflect our wounds. Introspection. Hammer. Have faith, love is coming. Under Hammer is crazy. Yes, Hammer is sabotage and also rebuilding, but also persistence and all those things. But, like, wow, Cupid's arrow, have faith, love is coming, surprise invitation or meeting is crazy. Lightning. That was coffee cup. So, okay, wow, chaser. It's too many. Look what's at the bottom of the deck, though. Chaser. Just one. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll go with that one. Which one was it? Boat. Okay, so receiving what you need. Progression. Moving on. It's rare that I get stuck on this with boat, but the last thing that this card said is closure issues. This being under cassette and chaser, so outdated thinking, conditioning, like replaying events within your head, and being codependent and having a fear of abandonment. So replaying being abandoned over and over and over again. kind of leading you to cling on to that codependent energy. Because of having closure issues, right? Needing closure from someone else rather than getting closure from yourself. So if we take what's happened within like this reading thus far, you being a person who could be very emotionally cold, withdrawn, play games, put on masks, whatever, attract people who do that as well, have a false sense of bravado, kind of seeking control and trying to maintain a sense of stability and security through these false masks and like false, like, I was about to say false conceptions of self, sure, and attracting that within someone else, but then also attracting someone who sends mixed signals, who keeps you on the hook, who keeps you chasing. Really, it doesn't keep you chasing, but like it triggers the chasing within you. Okay, so this is why this is why it's confusing. This is why Mirror came out under Runner. I think there's a dynamic here, runner chaser dynamic. You being the chaser, them being the runner. But I also think that reflecting back into you, how you're running from yourself. Because going back to the very beginning, this was all about coming into your authentic self, needing to like come home to your authentic self. And no longer seeking permission outside of you to be who it is that you actually are and to show up in the world in that way. But back to what I was saying, anyone who treats you in that way, like that's not, you don't need closure from that. There's no talk is going to give you closure. You know what gives you closure? Someone's actions. Someone never really defining a relationship for you, leaving you in limbo, leaving you guessing how they feel, giving you just enough to keep you interested. That's not someone who like you. Do you think someone who does that is going to actually care to sit down and have a talk with you of like, hey, yeah, I'm done toying with you now? No. I do think that like it's being triggered within you to move on from this. But I do think that a big part of this is like you seeking closure instead of just understanding that like, hey, things end, and dealing with it and moving on from it. But again, you dealing with things would require like would signal weakness, which I honestly, they probably like reflected like we're the same way. Phoenix. That's too many. But it does fit. So not enough and golden mirror. So the empath narcissist dynamic, but like narcissists very loosely, I'm not gonna go into just feel, but one-sided relationships, right? One person caring more than the other and feeling frustrated in a relationship, having a lack of confidence, engaging in self-sabotage behavior. Through sabotage, through ego, fear, jealousy. This being the middle row, I feel like, so it's really funny that the middle row is Phoenix. On this side is Chaser. On this side is Runner. And then this side is like what's being activated when you're so, like the very first row is what's being activated when you're so contracted right now. So I think this is like surrounding a situation. Okay, mirror. But this does show growth, right? Because Phoenix, No, 2 minutes. This is kind of like this. Okay. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I keep going back and forth, but like this tried to come out before. Literally this exact pairing, and it was with one other, and I was like, that's too many, but plus it's really in alignment with what we're saying. This not today card, so it's like not dealing with the hurt, with your anger, processing certain things, you know what I mean? But needing to keep a positive mindset. I want one more for that abundance. Oh, 3 healthy choices. I want one more for abundance. Keep a positive mindset. Manifest exactly what it is that you want. I like you coming out. Someone likes you. Romance is blooming. Under mirror. Keep it 0. Okay, love is coming. There's still a block here. Addiction. Love at the bottom here, which speaks to self-love, unconditional love. Let's get one more for addiction. Clock. Needs time. In cycles, time to heal. Let's get one more. Overall. This wanted to come out. Seduction. Attraction, flirting, dating, hooking up, temptation, third party interference. Hold on. I'm gonna have to get tarot because I can't get it clear. This soul contract. Pride, being the first one, is not surprising. So ego. Also tracks because self-notice in Leo. That's trapped. Finality. So, okay, soulmates. Bright, rejection. It's giving fated mates trope, but like rejected mates, you know what I mean? Like, you know you're meant to be with someone. Also, soulmates coming out in the 3rd deck now. Soulmate, soul contract. Silence, frozen, no words. For this entire reading, I want you to take everything as your own inner masculine, your own inner feminine, and also connected energy. All three at the same time, as it fits. Because this is both like the dynamic and then what's going on within each other. Do you know what I mean? Pride. It's like stuck in this cycle, stuck in a cycle of endings, of one feeling rejected and one constantly choosing pride and ego. And in one way or another, both choosing to stay trapped, right? Yeah. So this pride leads you to sending mixed signals, blocks your emotions to how it is that you truly feel, causes you to mess up a lot. Traps. Escaping. Maybe just like the weight of this connection makes you feel trapped and makes you want to like escape. Makes you want to like push it away. There's a reason why I said fated mates and the rejected like iteration of that. It's like, you know, this is destined for you. You know, this person is meant to help you grow. And likely that you're meant to grow with this person, like have a period of growth with them and like, you know, truly come into alignment and potentially like divine union here in the 3D with like connected energy. And the change that it requires of you, you're just like, no. So one of you is just like, no, I'm not doing that, right? That ancient relic thing. Keeping things alive out of the sake of, right? But then also statue, frozen, stuck in time, waiting on this person. They've moved on. They might be still stuck in their own ways, right? But they've moved on from this at least. And you're still there waiting on them to come back. Still sitting at the restaurant. Finality. I just had the thought, I was like, I hope I'm reading this wrong. I don't think I am, but like, I hope I am. Memories. Because also the songs that are in my head, right? Like, and when my clarinet is going crazy, I itch my ears a lot. So many. Escaping, not escaping. Crap, that already came out. Is that chemistry? No, ecstasy. Geez, my cheap throws card. Baby, I don't need dollar bills to have fun tonight. I love cheap thrills. So instead of this deep love, this unity, this connection, this commitment, chasing cheap thrills. And also, reminiscing on how exciting that was, how good that was, right? but not wanting to really admit that, because that's weakness. Caring about someone, giving your heart to someone is apparently weak. Rejection. Stress. Resistant. Bitterness. Jeez. None of them actually flying out is crazy. So that was confusion, bitterness, resistance. I can't remember the first one. Rejection. Too many. Stress. It was stress. That's beauty. One more for that, for beauty. Running, we already know that. It could be a thing of going back to that jealousy, but that pride, like not wanting to show weakness. You know, those people who like are, it's not even that they're unattractive, but they do have a really, really attractive partner. And instead of like dealing with what comes along with that, and maybe like how into the like their partner that they are, right? And really acknowledging their beauty inside and out, maybe just continue to like surface level like lust after them as a pride thing, right? But like also to keep them on the hook, but then also just treating them as this, like as they're just a cheap thrill, rather than like the deep love that is the connection. Like it's like the person that doesn't want to tell you how beautiful you are because they're like, you already know that you're beautiful, but it's like, no, but I still like to be told that, especially by someone I'm in love with. Like rejecting you in that way. Because it keeps like a separation. Again, with the mixed signals of pride. Rejecting the connection, all of that, like the true depth of the connection. Because if they were to admit that, then it's like, then you like have them like snared. Except that's not actually what you're trying to do, but that's just how they feel, because that's how they view relationships and connection and vulnerability, as a trap. I feel like this is something that they need to leave behind because they feel like it's such a trap. And it could also be that, you know, like this last time of running, rejecting, escaping, all of that, like maybe they thought like for them it was like the final thing, like the nail in the coffin sort of thing, and deciding to put a nail in the memories that come up for them. And so again, instead of being confronted with the fact that they had like a real deep love, seeking out shallow connections that validate their ego, continuing to send mixed signals and blocking their true emotions. Well, I don't like that. And even though soulmates came out and not twin flames, this does give we've done this dance multiple lifetimes. Because again, fated male, it's like trying to outrun this every single lifetime. I don't know what, you know, the shuffling for me today is not with it. Because there is a twin flame card in this deck. Nope. We had spying. I don't even remember what the last one. Curse. And what was this? Nope. Not important enough. Because I don't even remember what it was. Okay, but the universe works in very, 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 very weird ways. So confirming what I just said about doing this dance over multiple lifetimes is past life at the bottom of the deck there. But also that was spying. So they could be spying on you. Like can't stay away, but can't give in. Like can't help but peer in and see how you're doing, but like also not enough to actually like give this a real shot. Which is, so with what was coming out in this deck, like, and that's why I felt the need to get tarot. I want to get this and then I want to end with tarot. I do feel like something's coming and I don't think it's good. That's not to fearmonger, it's not to be bad. I just don't think it's good. Because again, there is a reason why soulmates, so contract has come out and not twin flames. And honestly, even if twin flame had come out, it still wouldn't guarantee much of anything. It just means that your twin dynamic is being activated for one reason or another. And honestly, you don't even really need that card to come out. When this isn't soulmates as in like soulmates is a very softer, easier love. That's not a twin flame journey in the slightest. So this is not that, but this is something that's being activated with your soul contract right now that like that you need for yourself. There's a reason why I started this off talking about that new moon solar eclipse and everything that I did around that time. This cracked my heart open. Which, to be honest, sounds cute and whatnot, but it's actually incredibly painful and typically really, really dark. Love spell you, femme witch. Anyone who, I don't know why I mentioned this, but anyone who loves moonlight and sage, do you have the bewitched perfume or oil? I'm thinking about getting it, but I have like so many of her oils. I don't know why, like that card always makes me think about that, but yeah. Tap in, let me know. Anyway, next 2 weeks. This is a very broad range, but I also heard like 3 months. Just open your heart. Let me grab that card. Okay, so remember the other cards that fell down that I didn't pick up, but saw when they slipped? Coffee cup. This could come in as like friendship, and maybe that's the road for repair. Excuse me, sorry, I think it is gonna come in really like charming though. But what fell down? Water sign. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. I was about to say, didn't we start this off with? No, but it was Capricorn. Spy again. So you could be a water sign, they could be a water sign. Water signs been coming out a lot lately. What is being activated within like water dominant charts? Sexuality. Someone's still figuring themselves out. I mean, cheap thrills, deep love, situationship, leave you on the hook, breadcrumbs. Could have to do with their own sexuality, but just, you know, give it time. Everything working out in divine timing. No, something not being the right time. Feeling used. Y'all know I hate this card. I'm not going to my spiel, but gaslighting. Feeling gaslit from it. Maybe even just them coming in trying to be friends. Like maybe that's gonna like still make you feel like you're being used and like being gaslit. Because it could just be a thing of like their life is crumbling right now and just wanting your energy, like wanting to bask in your energy to make themselves like feel better. We did talk about stroking ego. Yeah. Distance. Why did like with distance I like heard age gap? But last one for the top row. Go Dare actually coming out. Feeling used. That age gap thing, especially like with you to put on like a mask, excuse me, makes it seeming more confident, more mature than you actually like are, right? Because of the age difference, water sign. Moving, so water sign could be moving right now. But it could be just you as the water sign because remember you had you being in transition. Also them. You both could be water signs actually. It could be a double water sign pairing. Sexuality. Someone's still figuring themselves out. My ear's itching and I don't feel like scratching it again. They'll be back under sexuality. Nope. It's rare that I only take ones that fly out, but I guess that's what type of time we're on today. So sexuality. Confession. Going back to that situationship, all that. Confessions, pretending that give it time. Caution. Find out more information to overwork yourself. Yeah, let this play out. Let this play out. That's why communication is key. And also going back to the whole tangent that I went on of like being a person who's curious. Like I am never, I'm not gonna be a person who's afraid to be like, no, you know what, I care. Like, okay, yeah, you don't give a shit. That's very, very clear, but like I care. And it doesn't mean that you have to do anything with that information. It doesn't mean that because I care, you have to care or you have to feel bad about that or anything like that. But like, I'm not gonna sit and pretend that like I don't care or that I'm unaffected by something. That does nothing for me. It just does nothing for me. air sign communicating, right? Yeah, a need to be transparent about things. But like also, again, with the don't overwork yourself, don't over explain yourself. Things are gonna unravel as they should. This gaslighter, someone full of themselves. The earth sign, so you would be. So I said Capricorn in the beginning, didn't I? Goat. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, but specifically Capricorn. And then Go Digger. I feel like used. Very ungrounded of them in the earth sign. Through intimacy, sexual reminiscing, especially if they come back all super flirty. Going back to the tarot spread, how the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands came out. Again, your own inner energies, but also like counterpart energy. Especially if they come in like as a King of Wands, all sexy and charismatic and like, you know, just kind of ready to like lead the way, take charge sort of thing. But for them, it's still a bit of a mask, especially if you're still wearing a bit of a mask, putting on this false air of confidence instead of just being honest. Like, especially if a situation like this, right? Like, you've been left on the hook, you've been breadcrumbed, all these things, right? You clearly are hurt. That clearly would be a blow to your confidence. If not just like confidence in self, even if that's something you've rebuilt, you wouldn't be confident in that person. You wouldn't be confident in the like dynamic, the relationship, or like progressing moving forward. I would hope not, to be completely honest with you, because there's nothing here that would point to being that way. So putting on an air of like indifference or of fake confidence, that's just what you're going to be matched with. Open up your heart again at the bottom of the deck here. Open up your, like, be open, be vulnerable. Going back to Runner and how Mirror was under there. They're seeking thrill. You're avoiding your emotion. Both of you view emotion as weakness, vulnerability as weakness. You will continue to mirror that in each other. One last one. Pregnancy, crazy, but also just expecting because it didn't come out. Mercury retrograde. Let's get one more Mercury retrograde. Commitment. I don't think that like next Mercury retrograde they're gonna propose. I would hope not, because during next Mercury retrograde, Venus will also be retrograde. Don't do that. Do whatever you will, but like maybe not that. Especially not with this type of dynamic. But also maybe at some point during a Mercury retrograde, because engagement ring was at the bottom here at one point, maybe during a Mercury retrograde they proposed to you. Whether you realize that Mercury was retrograde at that time or not, like let's say they proposed to you, it might have been during then and like went back on it. Or then after that things started to like, shortly after that things started to like crumble. Because it was giving you a false sense of security, like letting, like making you think they want to like build a life with you. And so I say all of this, right? I'm not very, very confident in this energy. That does not make this person a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person. Um, it doesn't actually say much about the relationship and the future of the relationship. This is just like what's happening right now. And going back to the whole like twin flame not coming out thing, like I think that would point to moving forward within this relationship. It's less about moving forward within the relationship in any capacity and more about what this is like doing for you in your own in your own soul contract, like how this is forcing your soul to grow if you so choose. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Wow, this is almost 2 hours long. I'll close with how spirit sees you. Ooh, I just randomly got to do the animal deck. How spirit sees you, and then also just like tarot, like for the next 3 months. Black egg at the bottom. Okay. Spirit, how you see collective. And connect your energy. Them being gazelle is crazy. That's too many. But it's what? Shark, hyena, elephant. You know what though? This actually tracks. Shark, hyena, elephant. This would be a person who was like, and then bear at the bottom and whale. Okay, we're gonna get to this, but this would be a person that like shark is someone that's like something that's circling around a truth, right? That they're kind of like avoiding, and then hyena is having emotions about something like festering in them, building up, and playing it off with humor, sarcasm, right? Again, going back to vulnerability is weakness. Elephant, though, being really, really wise, but also elephant knowing how to like navigate through obstacles, but also an energy that can create obstacles for growth. And how that could apply to both of you. But so for you, Firefly and Cosmic Egg is crazy. So there's gonna be a period like a small window of like a flash of illumination that's like gonna bring you full circle. I'm gonna have to go listen to Right Where You Left Me right after this to get this out of my head because annoying. The firefly contains the light of 1,000 stars. It's pure, radiant, and illuminating. This high frequency charge cannot be sustained for long. Therefore, the firefly card indicates a moment of inspiration or awakening that quickly fades if we do not catch it. That's what's being triggered for you. There is firefly energy behind every poem, song, and invention. Our job is to be ready to harness this creative spirit when it graces our path. What can you do to support this precious and elusive light? I'm not gonna read the full Cosmic Egg because I just don't feel like doing that. But the completion, harmony, the infinite within the finite. So it's representative of the unfolding of cosmic consciousness. And then I start this off talking about cosmic creation. This state emerges after we have tread the path for quite some time, and through self-effort and grace, we experience self-realization. A sense of contentment and oneness spontaneously arises within us, and the veils of our self-limiting beliefs are lifted when the essence of when the essence of the cosmic egg has not been activated. We may feel as if we will never get there, or that we travel alone, disconnected from others. Even if our encounter with this card is brief, appearing as a momentary glimmer or flash of interconnectedness, its potent energy stays with us. The cosmic egg is a remedy for the fragmentation of modern life. It's through the power of this card that we are reminded of the cosmic contract written at the beginning. We hold on to life, and life holds on to us. The journey is complete, but it does not end. The journey is complete, but it does not end. Continued growth, continued soul evolution. Because all things are connected, all things feed off of each other. Domino, ripple, all the things. That's beautiful. Gazelle. Oh, this is T. So this is connected energy, heightened awareness and ability, vulnerable. The gazelle represents supreme grace. With every move, this awe-inspiring beauty emits sophistication and elegance. Gazelle personalities are often hyper-aware of their surroundings, bordering on hypervigilant. This can inhibit them from enjoying the beauty they've spent so much effort cultivating. I don't know why that was so hard for me to read for a second there. No more worrying about all those predators out there in the wild. When this card appears, it's time to get back in the present moment. Sit down, find your breath, and acknowledge the bounty that surrounds you. Let it nourish your gentle spirit. I want one more for that. Oh, no, this tracks also. This might be flipped. Honestly, like, again, take this, like, truly take this reading as it resonates. It could pertain to you, connected, but also like your own inner masculine, your own inner feminine, both, and same for them. And honestly, it might just be reading for literally all of it. I actually kind of feel that way because the way that I flip-flopped so much. But going back to, I'm gonna read elephants. Going back to shark, hyena, and elephant, and then also bear, that's like coming out of like hibernation. It's like awakening spiritual awareness, like spiritual consciousness, you know what I mean? Gazelle is like softness, grace and softness and vulnerability. Circling around being someone who cares, who has a huge capacity for caring, and having always seen that as a weakness, always having hated that about yourself because other people hated that like about you because they didn't want to deal with it. And going back to obstacles, bulldozing through obstacles, and obstacles being like created for your growth. That would probably be one of them. Unstoppable, auspicious, wise. The elephant is arguably the most auspicious figure in the deck. Like Ganesh, the elephant represents immense wisdom as well as good fortune. It is said that the great elephant is the destroyer of obstacles. So if this card appears when you feel stuck, rest assured the path will soon become clear. To add to the mystery, the elephant is also known to create obstacles in order to steer us in the right direction. Like a very, very vulnerable person being afraid of vulnerability. Trust this gentle, noble creature. It illuminates the way with the light of self-knowledge. Understanding of self, of your purpose, your role here. And again, also going back to Firefly and Cosmic Egg. Oh, that was beautiful. That was really, really beautiful. I don't know that that left you with any sort of like definitive answer on anything, but splits of 5 of Wands. I think it's just really, really important to understand that there are no winners, there are no losers in this situation. All of it is happening for a reason, and you're both so mirrored that any fault that you find within them, likely take a step back and make sure your side of the street is clean. I take some fresh references, but that's okay. because you like clearly you'd also like have those things as well. But okay, next 3 months for collective advice, warnings, heating. Ace of Swords and the, whoa, that's the Ace of Wands and the High Priestess. I think this is gonna really heighten like your feminine intuition, whether you are a male, female, non-binary, all the things, right? It's gonna like this spark. It's like a spark of like life force, like creative energy, womb energy, right? Cosmic womb. Also going back to that trapped, could also just be feeling trapped in like in 3D reality, in 3D structures, and in the constraints that maybe you have yourself put, especially with the Emperor reversed. But it's like it's almost to like free you, to connect you. King of Swords actually coming out. So deeply rooted in your feminine intuition, but also thinking logically. But when you're deeply rooted in your intuition, right, you're not strategic, you're not maneuvering, you're balancing. Going back to here, where we had a balance of spirituality and practicality. But it could also be that that King of Swords there. Let's see what comes out next. Hold on. Okay. Star. They make me a star. They make me a star. I wanna go to Maine. Ignore my horrible singing. So notice how I said 11-11, like when it was 11-11 on the time, but also the Four of Wands being the 11-11 card, and then right after that being the Star. There's the potential here for Ace of Cups. There's the potential here for a new beginning in love. Before I confirm all these, I want one more for this, for the King of Swords. Temperance. Alchemy. Slowly swirling two things together until they're cohesive, so they're not opposing forces, so there's harmony and balance. I think this is both of you, this King of Swords energy, and that's what I was going to say in the beginning. And also again, like with the swirling of your intuition and your logical mind, mixing them together. Literally a card of marriage, marrying the two sides of self. For hope, for renewal, for fulfillment. Star. Judgment, merging of past, present, future selves. Ace of Wands. Also, Ace of Wands can be like a card of like an aphrodisiac. Can be a card of engagement. Can also be a card of, you know, just like awakening sexuality and all that. All the things apply here. What was that? Doesn't matter. Devil, Two of Cups. There's an activation here. There's an activation here in order to I cannot say this enough. This is so self, internal marriage, and also external relations. Like this entire reading. But like trust within self, vulnerability within self, like, but also emotional equal, emotional match. It's the love card. It's just the partnership card. It's, you know, the companionship. But that happens through trust and vulnerability, through addressing the things that you're still shackled to, like your demons. There's going to be a trigger that activates this in order to lead to like the start of like true partnership. Softening both of you, to be honest, both of you, and like again, inner self. With this King of Swords here, and Temperance, clarifying King of Swords, alchemy, like High Priestess, death, transition, change. Well, we know you're in a state of transition, but I do think it's learning to trust yourself more. Before you can trust someone else, you do have to trust in yourself, especially if you've been someone who has always seen vulnerability as a weakness. In that way, you have been deluding yourself and like letting your own self down and betraying yourself because you haven't been your authentic self. Epiphany. New way of thinking, new ways of communicating. Through this change and transition, through letting die what needs to die. And then we said that in the beginning of like being afraid of death because not wanting to confront like what it means, which the High Priestess is very much in tune with the subconscious, with the subtle frequencies and the subtle realms. King of Swords, Temperance. Eight of Pentacles, mastery, but taking your time. It's this subtle mastery. It's like true craftsmanship. Turning like string into gold. You know the Rumpelstiltskin? Four of Wands. And I do think this is going to take a lot of work, right? Like a lot of dedication and intention. Especially if you both are like on the fence. And this could be with each other and just how you both like are just moving through the world within the next 3 months. Like, do you get what I mean? This is both internal and then like external, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean you two together. Could, doesn't have to though. Hold on. Wheel. Okay, Four of Wands. Ten of Cups. I think the next 3 months, like, sets the tone. It starts it. This is when all of this starts. I do think even before that, though, there's going to be a trigger that has to do with like all of this, because you're gonna be triggered. Like, the things that happened have to be brought up and worked through together. Resolution, in order to even get to this point, to where you could even attempt to start letting your guard down. And then star, this fulfillment, this hope, this renewal. Purpose as well. I want one more for that. Slow and steady. This is about truly viewing each other and just like the world, like interacting and navigating with the world differently. And understanding that this is a journey, this is a process. When you've gone your entire life putting on a mask and viewing vulnerability as a weakness, you're not just gonna overnight just like be this optimistic, hopeful person getting here. This takes time. This takes time. And like, I don't know if you saw it or not, but the Five of Cups wanted to come out there. That's going from complete like grief, really being stuck, to like ultimate happiness. You don't just jump from there. That is something that takes time. It takes skill. It takes mastery. But also it does take, there's reasons why, like, so yes, okay, Queen of Pentacles at the bottom here, warm, nurturing, very much needed energy. Knight of Cups, healing journey, but also following your heart. But I actually think it's very, very important that the King of Swords is the one that came out. I do think it's going to be backed by this very warm, nurturing energy. You're both going to need this in some capacity, right, to handle each other with care. But thinking logically is going to be important. Not strategically, logically. Because there are certain things that you can't ignore that are going to need time. And being rooted in your intuition, but also thinking logically, will help you from moving out of emotion. Trusting your intuition and moving out of emotion, vastly different things. So there is the potential here for like true happiness. You have the truth. To be honest, Two of Cups, I didn't even just know. Two of Cups, Four of Cups, Ten of Cups. It doesn't really get better than that. Did I say Four Cups, Four of Wands? You know what I mean. Two of Cups, Four of Wands, Ten of Cups. All cards pointing to divine love, divine union, marriage, happiness, all the things. And you have the Wheel at the bottom there. It's needing time, taking cycles. It is, again, doesn't mean it's gonna happen eventually. Like, it doesn't mean it's gonna happen off rip. It doesn't actually even mean that this is like in 3 months from now, this is gonna be the thing that's like happening. It means that this is setting the stage for that. That like after these 3 months, you should be on the path to that. Should be in a better position to even start to like be able to embark on that journey, that Knight of Pentacles journey. But you have to be committed, you have to be willing, you have to be stubborn. There's more that I could say, but this reading is already 2 hours long. So we're gonna end it here. If this resonated with you, as always, let me know. T, I like hearing that. Happy full moon. I'm going to go get in bed because I did not intend on doing a reading this long. So now I'm going to go veg out. But I hope you all have just a wonderful day. Take it easy on yourselves. Reflect if you need to. See where it is that you want to go. Also, the star coming out, and the star is associated with Aquarius. Like the star card in tarot is associated with Aquarius, and it's the Aquarius full moon. The synchronicities. But really consider like what it is that you need regarding fulfillment and joy within a relationship, within self, within a relationship, and kind of the barrier where you are and like how to get there. You don't need to know the steps of how to get there, but like let's start removing that mask. Let's be honest about where it is that you are in this moment. Like say you're a person who genuinely wants to spend the rest of your life with someone. You want to be in partnership. You want that true like depth of emotion and love and all of that, and yet you're still sitting in old hurts. Like let's acknowledge that it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Also, on the weakness thing of emotion being weakness and like feeling shame for that kind of stuff, if you can practice like being okay with that and like loving that and accepting that within yourself, practice neutrality. That's honestly the best step to like move forward with at first. Neutrality. Try starting to feel neutral about who it is that you are, like who it is that you genuinely are, because you cannot outrun who it is that you actually are. That's just you running away from like what actually fulfills you and your like true purpose in life. And even though you feel like emotions are weakness, what if part of your true purpose is actually Two of Swords, impasse? What if a part of like your actual purpose is to be in love, is to anchor in a new way of being and loving in this world? Damn. That would probably require you to like break that hard exterior, because that's not gonna work. Anyway, I don't know why I just started hearing love don't live here anymore. That's a crazy take. That's a crazy perspective to have. And yeah, I hope we get out of that. Happy full moon. I love you.